Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. I'm just pulling up the comments before I forget.
Pulling them up now so that you won't be all embarrassed and shit by stalling later.
Yes, exactly, because it always doesn't want to fucking come up. All right.
Yeah.
All right, ready to go?
Sure, and I'll just put this at the front end anyway so everyone knows that you had to take your time getting it.
Thanks. Oh yeah, that I had to. What, you thought I could just magic them there?
No, you could have been prepared before we even started.
It's the funniest thing you've ever said, Vera. Me be prepared before we start. What are you on?
I mean, do you want the list?
No, that's all good. Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak, this podcast. I am your prepared host, Jesse Gender, and I am joined as always by...
It's Vera! I am young, dumb, and full of cum, and two of those are true. So...
I would say all three. So take that as an almost compliment?
From your friggin' fetal ass, no. I don't need you implying I'm young.
I'm trying to be nice.
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right as well. I mean, I was telling you beforehand, I had the whole Blue Sky suspension this past week, if listeners are aware of that, from a few weeks ago when you listen to this. So that was my weekend. But other than that, it was all good.
Which, it's probably died down by now, but Jesse started an entire meme of people on Blue Sky. I think last time I'd seen anything about it, they weren't writing it in the text. They were posting images with the words "I wish ill" on J.K. Rowling, because that'd be harder for the bots to spot.
Yep, exactly. And it's so funny because it's such a weak thing. I've said worse about J.K. Rowling than "I wish ill" on her.
Yeah.
It's I hope she stubs her toe and steps on a Lego. I don't know.
I mean, it's barely half a step. The only reason it's worse than "I hope she has a bad day" is it's open-ended enough that it could be bad.
It could be, yeah. There's such a gradient on wishing ill of it could mean I hope she steps on a Lego and I hope she dies in the fiery pits of hell. There's a big gap in what I mean there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's whatever. Well, I appreciate everyone getting loud about it, but yeah, it was just one of those things of getting suspended for something so relatively innocuous is frustrating. But JD Vance can be on Blue Sky. It's fine. See, how are you?
Well, I'm just mulling over the frustration that every time I have been banned on a platform, they've never let me back, at least not with my original account. So
yeah, with TikTok, I know that happened twice.
Banned from TikTok twice.
Huzzah. Well, how are you, generally speaking?
I'm doing okay. And, I use the fact that I've been banned on TikTok twice as, part of my intro for burlesque numbers. I wear that shit like a badge of honor. But yeah,
as well you should.
I'm doing okay. Trying very hard to catch up on work. I've been watching Alien Earth, which at time of recording has had 2 episodes. Pretty solid as a start.
I really like it. I mean, to be fair, that show is categorically my shit. So
yes.
So I'm very much here for it. I'm great. It's grading on a very good curve of I'm willing to give it more positive because I love it. So
I don't really have any negatives on it, but it is one of those things where right now there's a lot of potential. It's just a question of whether they deliver on it or squander it. So it's one of those things where when I say it's a good start, I don't mean that as a backhanded thing, I need it to get better. More as it's not self-contained enough for me to call it good. I need to know where it's going. And if where it's going is good, then yes, the whole thing will be good. I just, don't trust media
yes.
to stay good.
having enjoyed enough Disney plus Marvel shows, yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, there was something Yahtzee Croshaw said like way early in his video game reviewing career. He said,
Experience has taught me that while declaring a game shitty because of the first few hours is perfectly valid and completely professional, you should never assume that a good game will stay good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, I will say games are a little bit different in that, like, his point still stands.
Yeah.
His point stands. Games are different in the sense that, like, if they fall off at the end, you can at least, like, enjoy the gameplay of it, you know, even if the story crashes and burns, whereas, like, if a story crashes and burns in, like, a TV show like Game of Thrones, then it's a little bit harder to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, but the general sentiment of you can't assume that a good thing stays good the longer it goes, that holds very true.
As a Trekkie watching this season of Strange New Worlds, I feel that.
I am only 2 episodes in, and I didn't like the first episode, and it was way better than the second one, so I'm not.
It doesn't get better! Yay! Yeah. I mean, I'm writing my script for the review of the whole season, and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is that they were trying to replicate the original series too much in trying to also make their third season terrible. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was a very good chance that this is the last season of Strange New Worlds I'm going to bother with, because like this again, I'm behind, but it hurts. I'm not having fun.
I just don't really even know what happened, because like seasons 1 and 2 weren't this. Like season 2 had signs of what's going on now, but at least it had a few good episodes here and there. And I know some behind the scenes stuff, but I won't say it on here. But like, it's still such a wild turn in season 3 that is wild to me. Like the only thing I can really think of like to explain this drastic of terribleness is like they just had to rush it all because of the writer's strike. But that's the only thing I can really think of. So.
I'm
not saying that's a thing to forgive it with. It's just like it's the only thing I can even think of, because that's what I remember when the writer's strike back in whatchamacallit,
2007. But like it's
because like stuff like whatchamacallit, Quantum of Solace was shit in part because of that.
Well, so. Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, not that Hollywood ever learns, but like for the most part with this more recent strike, they put way more stuff on hold than they did rush stuff through, because partially just because it's the streaming era and things aren't on a regular release schedule anyways. So part of it was that, and then part of it was I think there were enough people at the executive level who remembered 2007 and remembered how badly everything in 2008 flopped because it was all rushed, and went, look, let's just have a gap and come back and have it still be good.
Yeah, well, maybe they had an epiphany, you know? And speaking of which, we are talking about the Battlestar Galactica episode, Epiphanies. Ooh, multiple.
Yeah,
Ooh,
see, here's the thing. I want to say that was the decent transition, but the thing is, that was like an all-purpose one. Like, you could have jumped to that at any time.
Yeah, it really was. It was pretty. I knew it when I saw the title. I was like, this is going to be an easy transition. I literally thought of it when I saw the title. So,
yeah.
You know, it's hard to do with like Resurrection Ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like this was a layup. If you'd fucked this up, I would have been legitimately worried.
Well, let us talk about some. Speaking of Resurrection Ship, let us talk about some comments from Resurrection Ship Part 1.
Oh, boy, just wait till you people hear what we say about Part 2. God.
Oh, boy, that's going to be fascinating. Let's see. Arsenal says, too many sixes making Jesse feel uncomfortable. Methinks someone else was raised with a religious indoctrination. Vera, I see the little model ships, and I just think somebody 3D printed them, but I'm sure that officer in charge of that machine inputting the data, he's probably really, really happy.
People can be proud of a 3D printing thing, because like you still have to design it, even if you didn't, if you don't physically carve it.
Yeah, I mean, I have Dr. Erin McDonald, her husband, Aaron, he also named Aaron. He loved to like build things for sets and stuff, and he had a 3D printer, and he would 3D print all the stuff all the time, and then carve it and like do a lot of really cool stuff. It was a lot of fun to watch, actually.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, let's see. Oh, Time Lost says, one of the times Jessie laughs during this podcast sounded like she was doing the giggle.
Jessie?
Yeah.
Thyme is just pronounced thyme. It's the spice, as in parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. It is not thyme.
I don't need your explanations and correctness.
How dare you be right, bitch?
Let's see. And then Where's My Jetpack said, maybe stating the obvious, but feel like it should be noted that suicidality is not an uncommon reaction to trauma. That's not to deny your critique. It's used as a trope, especially a gendered one, but again, just feels like it needs to be said. Also worth saying, too, we touch upon that. By the time you listen to this, you'll have listened to Part 2, Resurrection Ship Part 2, which we do touch upon that as a thing.
And it's one of those things that, like most tropes, it is less an issue of the concept in and of itself than it is the prevalence of it. It's one of those things where if it didn't happen so much, it wouldn't be that big a problem, and it might not even be a problem at all. It would just be something that happens on occasion, but it happens a lot in media.
And it's something, too, that we discussed, too, in Part 2 that got a bit better by the fact that the character expressed it, but the show didn't necessarily validate that, oh, you're too broken, and thereby needing to die.
Yeah, that helped. Like, when that sentiment was first raised, all the alarms went off. And while I said many an unkind thing about Resurrection Ship Part 2, I will give it that much. It avoided that one pothole.
Yes. Well, let us
sidestepped the pothole and fell off a cliff. But
yes. Yes. Well, let us get into our recap of this episode, Epiphanies. We have a flashback starting off the episode with Rosalind back on Caprica the day that she got her cancer diagnosis, so 189 days ago.
So hold up immediately.
Yes.
All right. What do you think I'm about to go off on?
Her wig?
No.
Her costume?
No.
The amount of days?
No.
I have no idea.
What the fuck is this room? What the fuck is this office? It is this massive, cavernous space with like these huge, the entire wall is windows. Like, it looks like an entire reception area was emptied out, and there's a desk and a chair on either side that's like way deep in the room, and you watch the doctor walk across this thing, you hear his footsteps for fucking ever. What is this office? What the fuck is this?
The guy has the nicest office ever.
What a waste of space. Jesus. Like, there isn't even a pot plant. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. To be fair, this is a retake from the scene from the miniseries. Like, they're reusing footage. So it's the miniseries' fault, not this episode's.
Well, regardless of whose fault it was,
yes.
It immediately, my brain was like, what the hell is this room?
Yes. Well, we start to learn that Rosalind's having these flashbacks while she's being wheeled into medical on the Galactica, because her cancer condition has been worsening. And Coddle says we'll make her as comfortable as we can. I also really like, and I'll jump back to, because we've jumped back and forth to a couple things with the flashback as this is going on, but one thing I will note is I kind of like how they shot the her in the hospital bed, because what they would do would flick between different ISO settings, just like getting brighter and darker and lighter, brighter, darker, like very quickly, which to me is like they're just changing their ISO on their camera, it looked like. Which I like. Just, it was an interesting way of portraying disorientation in a way that I haven't seen before. That was practical, quote unquote practical. So
cool.
But yes, back in the flashback, as all as that's going on, we see that she's in the one courtyard that apparently everyone in Caprica City goes to.
Yeah.
I also think it's the same courtyard they used in X-Files, because I've been watching X-Files, and there's and they both shoot in Vancouver.
So
I'm
yeah,
like, I think this is the same. Yeah,
it probably is then. Yeah, like what is about to happen is one of those. Okay, I guess I just have to swallow this preposterous cosmic coincidence moments.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I could hear devil's advocate.
Of course.
So what we're about to have happen here is there's a couple other plot beats going on, but one of the things is while she's talking to this other guy, she sees Baltar talking to Caprica 6. So there's a potential for her to recognize that Baltar knew a Cylon. And just to devil's advocate it, Baltar was technically working for the government, and he may have been going into the same work building as Rosalind. So it's theoretically possible. Like, let me just say it's less of a coincidence than it necessarily would seem on its face.
I am going to say that it, at best, if I swallow the coincidence, which I have to because it's gonna hinge stuff on it, I can fucking tell. So I just need to deal with it. But like, it just makes Baltar a bigger idiot because, like, she was in theory, if I'm remembering correctly, like a defense contractor, and like it was a whole, honestly, like conflict of interest even for who he thought she was, much less who she actually was. So like that just makes you a massive fucking idiot that you're bringing your conflict of interest girlfriend around.
Yeah.
Not that I think he's incapable of being an idiot. He's very much an idiot. I'm just not sure if he's that kind of idiot.
Who knows? Boobs
I mean, like,
were there.
He could be.
There were boobs. He got distracted. Well, so that little bit happens in the flashback. Rosalind's remembering that she saw like little snippets of Baltar. But the other thing that we see is that she's meeting with this guy named Stans, who is a teacher from the Educational Alliance, who is currently one of the people leading a strike movement of teachers that she basically is trying to negotiate with for the current administration that she's working for, President Adar's administration.
Yep.
So we learned that bit. Then we cut over to Starbuck out with Kat in Viper, and Kat sort of ribs Starbuck for being 20 minutes late to their patrol. But after they sort of have that little moment, Kat asks permission to clear her guns, and when she does so, her gun actually blows up and hits Starbuck's glass on her Viper. So they both have to go back to the Galactica.
Yep. The immediate issue was resolved shockingly quickly, considering that like how hard the music goes. In that moment, I thought it was going to be a bigger thing, but then suddenly we're like just back in the hangar.
Yeah, because you can hear like the wind, or not the wind, the air escaping through Starbuck's glass.
You can hear the decompression happening.
Yeah, which was like actually a terrifying little moment.
It was, and then just cut back to the Galactica. They fucking love to do that, don't they?
They do. Well, back on the Galactica, the chief learns from Callie that basically what happened was the bullets were fucked up. So a few of the bullets are weakened, and so they don't fire, and then the next bullet will fire and hit the one as it's stuck in the chamber that caused the explosion. And he points out that one bad round is a fluke, but multiple is probably sabotage.
You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
It's sabotage, you Captain Kirk's favorite band, the Beastie Boys.
I have to wonder, it actually never occurred to me before, whether they picked that song because there is that famous outtake audio of them trying to get William Shatner to pronounce sabotage correctly.
Spock, sabotage the system.
Okay, can you have line 193 again? It's sabotage, sabotage.
I don't say sabotage. You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
I'm sure there's because they do reference Star Trek too in one of their songs. So like there is the is Star Trek in universe like a thing in the Star Trek universe, or is that Beastie Boys song not exist in that universe? There's so many questions. It's kind of fun. So I always love shit like that. That's always enjoyable for me. So we then this is an aside. There's another fun one. Even though this show I have issues with this politics, the For All Mankind show is interesting because it's an alternate universe history where the Russians got to the moon first, and so it has this whole alt history stuff going on. And they reference Star Trek, but they reference that apparently Deep Space Nine didn't exist in that timeline, only the original series Next Generation and then Voyager. So there's some weird reference like that, which is funny considering that the guy Ronald D. Moore, who created Battlestar Galactica, also worked on Deep Space Nine. So it's the one that you worked on is the one that you're cutting out of the history.
that is, you'd think given his grievances, it would have been Voyager he cut.
Yeah, it was something weird like that. I remember being oh, that's an interesting choice for Ronald D. Moore to make. Anyways, we then cut to Adama talking to Doc Coddle, and he basically explains that Rosalind's dying and she knows it, and she's also asked for no morphine, or Morpha as they call it in the Galacticaverse. So
yes, how original and daring to mildly change the pronunciation. Look, fine, whatever, it's harmless, but this is up there with the Dratus. I'm look, it sounds so close to the thing you changed it from anyway. What was the fucking point?
Same thing as Frak, right?
Well, yes, but I know why they did that, because of censorship.
Also, hello, Smog. Sorry, my cat.
In the abstract, yes, it's just as pointless, but I at least know why that decision was made.
Yeah. Sorry, I said hello, Smog, because my cat Smog just jumped up during the recording, which he's usually never done, so that's new for him. Anyways, let us see. We then have Rosalind having a flashback where she's talking with President Adar. Which is interesting.
Played by guy I love to see, Colm Fiore.
Yeah, I know. He's always great. I've seen him a few times in a few different things.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's always good. And here he is a big old asshole.
Yep. Because, he's basically very anti the teacher strike, saying they're acting like thugs, being very anti-union, very, very Reagan-esque, one would say. Yes, but yeah, he's they chain themselves outside the Hall of Education, and Rosalind's being more pragmatic, saying their strike action is gaining momentum, and you know it. Why aren't we talking to them? And Adar says, he says the famous line that Rosalind told the story of, I think, back in season 1, where he says, the thing that I learned about being president is you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. But then, what's interesting is we learn what happened after that point, because he looks at her and says, you've already set a meeting with Stans. Stans is the guy who's leading the strike, haven't you? And she goes, obviously, only if you approve. So I kind of like that because her original reason for telling the story was him saying, you don't have to explain yourself of being president, but then it showcased in that moment she actually was kind of going against his express wishes at that bit. So I like that interesting recontextualization of that story.
See, the thing was, I had forgotten that she had told that story, which doesn't make this moment not work or anything. It just adds another layer because I think it's very good they did the reminder anyway because of something that's going to happen later on. But yeah, no, I had completely forgotten about that.
Yes, yeah, she's already told the story before. All right. Well, Rosalind wakes up hearing Baltar talking about her and says, don't talk about me, so I'm not here. You'll have plenty of time to do that later. And basically, she asked Coddle to explain a situation with the Cylon baby, the Cylon human baby hybrid. And he basically says, there's something odd going on with the Cylon fetus. There's some abnormalities. Baltar basically says, I'm the expert. I don't think there's anything conclusive. And Coddle goes, there's nothing. I didn't say conclusive. I just said damned odd. Which I liked as a line. And Rosalind basically says, and Adama's there, I should say. Rosalind says, allowing this thing to be born could have frightening consequences. I believe the Cylon pregnancy should be terminated. Adama seems to be a little questioning of that, and she says, I thought you of all people would understand, Admiral. Baltar is very upset about it, saying this makes no sense, and Roslin says the same line that Adar said, one of the interesting things about being president is you don't have to explain yourself to anyone.
Yep. What I also kind of like is, like, she's not even doing it as like a mic drop or a gotcha. She basically says, unbroken without taking a breath, you know, one of the nice things about being president is you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. I'd like to be alone now. Thank you. Bye. Sort of making the point that, like, yes, she's exerting her authority, but also she's dying and she's tired and she doesn't want you here anymore.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want to explain myself. Get away. So,
like,
yep.
Don't make a dying bitch explain herself. Get the fuck out of my face.
Mm-hmm. Well, Baltar goes to Adama in the hallway as they're walking away. And he starts arguing. He's like, I think the president's illness is affecting your judgment. And Adama's like, I feel like she seemed coherent to me. And then he's like, all right, well, I'll argue on scientific grounds. You know, we don't know enough about all this, da-da-da-da-da. And then Adama goes, the president made the call. You're about to become the president of the colonies. You're going to be asked to make hard decisions. Act like you can handle it. So.
The look on Baltar's face when he hears the words, you're about to be the president. It's like those words suddenly make it real, and he gets the biggest "oh fuck" look on his face.
Yep, he's like, god damn it.
Like, oh shit, I hadn't really processed that fact yet. It's not like he didn't know, but like he'd been putting that idea off, and suddenly he started his face, and he says, oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the kid who didn't do the assignment being called on to present in front of the class.
It's like, can I go tomorrow? Ask someone else. Ask Bob. Yeah.
Great Expectations is about someone with great expectations.
And they're great, if one might say. Anyways, while Baltar's sort of processing this and Adama walks away, Head 6 returns.
Yes.
And he says, where have you been? And she's like, I never left you. And he says, well, I mean, metaphorically speaking. And she says, I've been trying to reach out for you. And like, she says she's back because she's concerned for our child. And she's basically saying, once Rosalind's gone, you can use your new authority to save the child. He basically argues, though, without Adama's support, you saw the contempt on his face, without his support, I'm basically going to be an anointed dog catcher. And she says, you have your own resources, and she reminds him about the nuclear device that he obtained for use for the Cylon test way back in early season 1. So.
Yeah, which was interesting because it wasn't that I'd forgotten about it. I guess in my head, like, it would have been disassembled and not, like, still intact and usable. But then, on the other hand, depending on what it was he actually needed it for, or if he even, in fact, actually needed it, it might not be. But, like, I hadn't thought about it because of that notion in the back of my head.
Yeah, but it's nice seeing it come back up as a plot point because it wasn't really dealt with much since that point, so.
Yep.
One other thing to note about the scene is during it, Head 6 grabs his tie, and I just like when that happens. There's just a few weird moments where you see some clear extras in the background just looking, going like, what the fuck?
See, the thing is, that's not the only moment. I noted people in the background giving him weird looks actually pretty early on, because he's like, this is a busy hallway. This isn't like usual where he's walking down a hallway and like there's nobody there, then like one person walks by. Like, this is a busy hallway, and he's like looking and chatting to thin air. And like, I noticed very early on one extra being like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I feel like
I kind of like that they did a few more after that, and I kind of hope it comes back. I kind of hope that like it eventually comes out and it's like, Dr. Baltar, nobody trusts you because people have been seeing you all over the ship talking to yourself.
Yeah. I too kind of like the idea that people have just generally been like, yeah, he just talks to himself, and I guess that's just a thing. And like, still give him weird looks, but are like, all right, I guess that's just Baltar.
Well, the tie grab was actually extra nice because like she grabs his tie and kind of yanks him, and then like the camera kind of moves and pulls back as you're noticing the people around him, and suddenly he's the one holding his own tie out.
Yep.
Oh,
it was very fun.
Which begs the question: has he been shoving himself into walls? Has he been literally twisting his own wrist?
I don't know. These are questions that you'll find out.
It seems to imply that he has been. That he's just out there in the hallways by himself, like, ah!
Yep. Hey, guy's got a masochistic streak, it's very clear. Well, then we cut to Adama talking to Hilo, and he basically says,
them's the breaks.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, Hilo, your baby's getting aborted. We're doing a space abortion now. You're gonna have to deal with it. I do like that it is pointed out because Adama says, like, well, Hilo asks, like, what's the justification? Essentially, Adama says, oh, well, there's some abnormality seen in the blood work, and Hilo's like, isn't that to be expected? Which I'm at least glad someone is saying, because, like, it is clear that Rosalind's just using this as justification, like a reason to choose to abort the fetus.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, it would be expected that, like, a human Cylon baby would have abnormal blood work.
Yeah,
so.
Because, like, you don't know what a normal human Cylon would be. What do you mean? Like, if your baseline is just people, okay, that's not a human being, though. So, yeah, no, it's not going to match.
Yeah. So, so I liked at least that getting expressed. Because, yeah, this is clearly just Rosalind using it as justification for something she probably already wanted to do. Hilo starts making a few arguments, like Sharon has only helped us so far, even turn on our own people. And Adama argues back, it's like, to save her own life, don't mistake desire to live as genuine compassion. She's still the enemy. He says I should be the one. Hilo says I should be the one to tell her, and Adama says I don't expect you to agree with the decision, but I need you to accept it. And Hilo goes, "It's my child, but I guess it's easier to kill when you call it a Cylon."
Yeah, which about a half step away from. It's probably easier when you call a baby a fetus, but dude's upset. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that he's angry about it. I do at least like Adama having some level of compassion, to a degree that he can, in the sense that, like, I don't expect you to like it, but you're going to have to do it. So,
yeah. Like I said, them's the breaks.
Yep. We then have Ty, Starbuck, Lee, and Adama talking on the bridge about the sabotaged bullets. We learn that Lee has been reinstated as CAG, and Ty's not super happy about it, but Lee has decided to stand down patrols with the Vipers, which Ty is upset about because it leaves us defenseless, but Adama makes the point of we were defenseless before, we just didn't know it.
Which I like that a lot. That was a good point and was a well-delivered line.
Mm-hmm. And he assigns Lee to try and figure out where the sabotage came from.
Yep.
So, we then cut to Lee going down to essentially the bullet manufacturing area of the ship, he goes to talk to one woman that they probably assume is the one responsible for those bullets. And as soon as they get close, and he says, let's do this quietly. But then she starts yelling, Captain Adava, I have a messenger for your father. We have declared war against the Galactica's army of death. The Cylons aren't our enemy. It's the military that refuses to negotiate. We just want peace, as she sort of runs away and gets arrested, I believe. So. Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes down the line. I'm going to put on the record right now, I fucking hate this. It's not an unreasonable or unbelievable plot point to go with. That having been said, it suffers from the same problems that most shows or movies suffer from when they have what I just tend to think of as asshole peaceniks. As a complicating factor, because those stories are pretty much always told from the perspective of the military, And the information known to the audience means the audience immediately knows these people are fundamentally wrong. So, like, the main thing for these people is they want to negotiate with the Cylons. And both the Dama and the audience knows that there is no reason to believe that that is possible, which means that immediately the people objecting to the behavior of the military are immediately painted as unreasonable and or ignorant, because they don't know what's going on and they should just trust the military. And I don't like it as a general sentiment. And again, it's one of, talking about tropes earlier, it's one of those many things that I have, when I've seen characters like this show up in stories, this is what they do with them. I'm not going to say it's a super common plot point, but I am going to say that when a character going, we should negotiate, this should be about peace, stop the military, they are almost always a net negative. They are virtually never portrayed in a positive light, which pisses me off.
My problem, and I don't disagree with you. I agree with you completely on that. How do I put this? I don't think this episode necessarily portrays these people as completely wrong. In fact, there's a scene later on that I actually like in terms of it actually being critical of the military aspect of it, that I kind of liked. And if I recall, and I won't spoil too much. I'll leave this open to spoiler minute stuff. But just I think there's an element of where this plot eventually goes that I don't like necessarily how it ends. However, it doesn't end in a way that I think is overtly like the most problematic version of that story that it could be. Let me put it that way.
Great. What a ringing endorsement. It's not as shit as it could be. And I'm not. Sorry, please. To be clear, like, this specific episode is not the most egregious thing I've ever seen in terms of portraying these people as a problem. And yes, there will be some critical points leveled against Adama in particular. But that having been said, just the meta nature of the narrative and that the audience knows shit about the Cylons that these people don't innately makes them wrong. They are wrong in what they are trying to do. Even if this specific episode is critical about the pushback that is given to them, just the meta-narrative alone, at this point, based off what we know about the Cylons right now, means that they're just wrong.
Yeah. What's more interesting to me about these stories that I find fascinating, because you're talking about them being portrayed as wrong, yes, but it's usually, like, there's usually even more like they're portrayed as kind of idiots. Like, they compare, this is the one I was trying to get at, and this is one where I'm like trying to figure out exactly how I'm trying to say this, but an interesting comparison, to use Star Trek again, is the original series episode City on the Edge of Forever, which featured Kirk having to let the pacifist lady die because she argues to be pacifist against the Nazis, which then leads to the Nazis taking over. And the argument being like, oh, well, we need to fight back against the Nazis, which you should, yes, and not necessarily be pacifist against them, but like still having, but the episode still having some level of praise and compassion for her point of view, but still ultimately kind of showing like, oh, you're just a naive idiot in terms of the situation. And that's my bigger issue with this idea, is that there's no real nuance as an in-between point of view, in the sense that, like, we either get, you need to be super militaristic and want to fight back and just, like, you know, we have to punch him in the fucking nose and fight back, versus, like, complete and utter pacifism, we just want to capitulate and appease and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, there's middle ground there that generally doesn't get explored a hell of a lot. And I will say, I do think Battlestar Galactica, again, to my memory, and even in this episode, does get into a little bit of it. Still, I think it ends up siding way more with the military, just because they're the heroes of our show. But I think at least it does do a slightly better job than most, if I recall. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's also a little weird here, because there is a natural middle ground stance to take, which is, why are we, engaging in as much combat with the Cylons as we have been, aren't we supposed to be looking for Earth?
Yes. And that's actually a point that one of the leaders brings up later on that we'll get to, that I'm like, that's your strongest point, and he doesn't lay into it. Yeah.
Yeah, but instead, it's like, no, we must negotiate peace with the Cylons. Like, God fucking damn it, man.
That's exactly my problem. We'll get to the scene later on, but that is exactly my problem, where it's like, I don't think you should be negotiating the Cylons because, fuck them. They literally caused a genocide and they show no signs of wanting to stop. However, there's a proper argument of, like, why do we just risk the Pegasus and the... Like, you could literally just go, like, literally last episode, we risked both the Pegasus and the Galactica going off on some mission to kill these guys when we could have been focusing on other shit and not risk everyone to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, there are better arguments to be made that are brushed upon but not brought to the table, and it's presented more as we need to fully negotiate with them, or we need to completely be focused on fighting them to the death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's the two most extreme positions that are getting the most prominence, which is, I don't want to call it lazy writing. I am going to call it uninteresting.
We then cut to Adama, Ty, and Lee talking about the manifesto that they found. Basically, like not manifesto, but pamphlets that they found.
I'm pretty sure they actually call it a manifesto.
Yeah, well, I think Ty derides it by calling it a manifesto. I would not categorize it. Let me put it this way. I don't think what this is a manifesto. It's a pamphlet of their ideology. Ty will call it a manifesto, and it does at least sell their ideology, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a full-on manifesto.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the reason I'm bringing it up is nobody disputes his description, and that innately in most people's mind brings to mind the Communist Manifesto, which is one more thing that I don't need wrapped up in this.
Fair enough. I didn't take it that way for two reasons. One, the symbol actually is more of an anarchism symbol. Is kind of what it more looks like. Which, to be fair, a lot of TV shows confuse communism and anarchism as similar things, which they are not. And usually, if it does make a distinction between anarchism and just they want pandemonium in the streets and Mad Max everywhere, which is also not what anarchism is.
Honestly, at this point, I'd take that anyways. But whatever.
Yeah, but also I will say, given how the episode's using Ty, I would actually say that, yes, while none of the characters like Adama or Lee dispute Ty's description of it as a manifesto, given the episode is using Ty to showcase the bad viewpoint of the military, as he's often used, of like, yeah, you're the super military, let's just use violence all the time mindset, I don't necessarily think the episode is fully in agreement of it being like, this is the Communist Manifesto.
Oh, so, I don't think the episode is in full agreement. I just don't entirely know why it's there anyways.
I mean, if me it matches, like, Ty would literally, I buy it that Ty would call it a manifesto because the man's a fucking idiot and doesn't know the difference.
Okay. You're debating me on point one, and then you're debating me on point two. I am arguing from the position of both of these things together in the same space at the same time.
I guess. I'm still not sure your point, I guess. I guess I'm not clear on it.
My point is, generally speaking, when most people hear manifesto, they either think communist or terrorist. That is just what they think. Which, again, even putting it in the mouth of someone like Ty, because it is not pushed back on, it becomes, within the memory of most audiences, the adopted understanding of what this thing is. And the associations that come with using that word is, again, one more way to handle people who are saying maybe we shouldn't be fighting in a way that I just don't like.
Fair. Okay, I see what your point is. I would give a soft pushback in that. Like, I think I agree with you in that probably most people in the audience will take it as a, yes, this is a manifesto sort of thing. However, I will also give some credence to the episode in the sense that, like, Ty is clearly not the guy that we're supposed to be fully in ideological agreement with throughout the episode. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree with that.
So, yeah. So him putting in the mouth of him, I think, lends the audience to give it a little bit more criticism than we normally would. That being said, we're not offered something else to describe it as. Thereby, it's the thing that'll probably linger in the audience's mind. I think is the middle ground, I guess.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they are looking at said manifesto. And yeah, they're basically describing like they demand peace. And they point like Adama, and everyone's like they're pointing out that this is organized, and that this hangar deck person was a civilian that they brought on who had no known criminal affiliations before this.
Because they're short-staffed, that gets mentioned. Yeah.
Yes. And then we read a little bit from it, like, don't be afraid, we are not terrorists. We just want to end Adama's war machine in this futile conflict.
We are not terrorists. We are simply using acts of terror to get what we want. Oh, shit.
And yeah, so this has been, we also learned this pamphlet's been spreading across the fleet, and their leader is demanding a meeting. And Adama agrees to meet with them, and he assures Ty that we're not negotiating. I just want to know what we're up against. So.
Yep.
We then cut to Rosalind back in her hospital bed, and she has another flashback. And she's talking to Stans, who she tells him, if troops could be used in this situation to stop the strike, and things could turn ugly. And Stan says some causes are worth dying for, and she says not this one. So,
which, like, honestly, is a position we don't hear often enough. Because, like, look, there are many, 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 many things worth fighting for. That does not necessarily mean you have to be able to put your life, you should be put in a position where you're putting your life at risk to fight for them. Now, if you're in a position where you feel that is even necessary, obviously some other stuff's gone wrong, so don't misunderstand me on that. But, like, every now and then there are some things like, yes, you are right to fight for this. Maybe take a step back before you get shot, though.
Yeah, people do tend to have a martyr syndrome. It's like, I'm not saying there aren't even causes worth dying for.
No. There absolutely are. But not every cause is. Not every hill is worth dying on.
Nor should you, like, run headlong into dying for your cause, which some people seemingly valorize. Which is a whole other thing. It's like, yeah, maybe even it's a cause worth dying for. Maybe don't actively try, though. Don't actively try to.
Your life is valuable. The world is better with you in it. So be very, very, very careful about what positions you put yourself in where you might no longer be here.
We then have Adama meeting with Rhea. I don't know how to say his name. The leader of the
there was something I missed that I wanted to mention before.
Sure.
Did you write down the name of the woman who they arrested and whose quarters they were going through?
I believe her name was Osha.
Well, that... Fuck, was that her first name? I only caught her last name.
What was it?
So, it's Yannick. And I had to pull it up and look up how they spelled that. It's spelled Janik, but hearing like... we're going into Yannick's quarters. I'm like, wait, fuck, what?
It's just a big oval, her door,
So, I'm positive that we have defined this term in previous podcasts, and I'm not sure we have here. Just on the off chance that audiences don't know what that word means.
Vagina.
Yes. You know how things that resemble a penis are phallic? Things that resemble a vagina are Yannick.
My favorite thing is all the Borg shit that is Yannick in Star Trek. There's a lot of Yannick Borg. Like, and I even had people fight me on this. I'm like, no, look at the Borg Queen's, like her thing in Star Trek Voyager. All the doors are literally like Yannick or whatever. And in Star Trek Picard, and in Star Trek Picard, there's literally a ship that the Borg Queen comes on, and it looks like not only does it look like a clamshell, but it has a little dot where the clitoris is. And I'm like, this is the most vagina. And what's my favorite part of that season is that ship is in the opening credits. So every week you just see this like vagina Borg ship. It's my favorite thing. I
might have to check just the opening credits of that season.
I want to show you. I'm gonna pull it up. Borg vagina ship. I'm gonna show this to you.
Is that actually the Google search you're using?
Yes. So let's see. This is what the ship looks like. It's not the opening credits, because the opening credits is where you get to see the dot that looks like the clitoris. Let's see. Share screen. Let's see if I can show you this real quick. This is what it looks like. Open image in new tab. Let's have your reaction to this.
Oh my fucking god!
That's the ship. Yeah, it's a giant. Oh, there it is. There's the clitoris right there.
Oh my god! Oh,
So,
fucking hell! How did
Yeah.
I not hear about that?
yeah, it's just the most vagina-shaped ship I've ever seen in my life, and I'm here for. I fully support
Oh
this.
yeah, no, I love it, but Jesus Christ!
Riding in on a giant Borg vagina. It's all good.
Oh,
Anyway.
that made my night. I needed that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyways, we then have a Dama meeting with the leader of the resistance movement, whatever you want to call it. He basically says, we shoot people like you for treason, and the leader says, I abhor what's happening.
Well,
You can
Ty says that one.
Ty that says that, excuse me. And he basically points out, is like, the leader basically says, you're trying to crush an organization, but they're following an idea, not a leader. We just want peace with the Cylons. He's like, Adama, they says they've attacked us, and he's like, we enslaved them. And he's like, and this is going back to what we were saying earlier, this is the strongest point, where he says, I'm not a strategist, but explain how our current course leads to victory. And I'm like, agree 100%. Like, that's the point of, like, what are we ultimately going to do to win this fight? We can't. And I think his better argument would be like, we can't, so let's focus on Earth, or like less on the conflict, not like, let's go negotiate with them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Anyways, he basically points out they go to arrest him, and he says, arresting me won't stop any of this. And Dom says, maybe not, but it's a start. So
Yeah, I just wrote down, I fucking hate what this is doing. Mostly because I don't like, and it's not that it's wrong or that it's out of character, that I don't buy it. I don't enjoy watching them do this to Adama.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does read as correct. I don't know. It doesn't read out of character, and the episode is...
No. I'm not saying it's out of character, but, like, something being justified doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, fair. No, I'm not even saying Dalma's justified in it, but it reads correct.
No, I mean narratively justified.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. We then cut to Lee and Starbucks talking, and Starbuck is trying to reach out to Lee, saying, like, hey, I haven't talked to you since your spacewalk last episode, where Lee was suicidal afterwards, or at least had a death wish, I guess is the better way to put it. But then Lee sort of gets distracted and finds something that the deckhand had, Yannick had, some information on the Tillium refinery. So they think that that's where something next might be happening.
Yeah, they're the next target.
Mm-hmm. We then have Hilo going to talk with Sharon, and he's explained that they want to abort her do a space abortion. And she gets really rightfully pissed off. She's like, I've held back my anger. I've shown them we're not all murderers. And Hilo says, well, I guess they're still afraid of you. And then she sort of flips that and says, they want to be afraid of something. Let them try taking my baby. And she hits her head against the glass twice as Hilo's trying to argue, like, don't do this. But then the Marines come in and she kind of fights and resists them as they sort of restrain her from hurting herself more.
And honestly, very justified.
100%.
Because, like, the number of times that and it honestly especially helps that, like, she's a minority actress, that the number of times, people in minorities have been like, but I've done all the stuff, and the people in power have been like, cool, awesome, we still don't think you should be allowed to breed.
Yep. Nope. It reads, unfortunately, very true.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't comfortable, but it was good. It was solid stuff.
Yes. We then cut to Lee with the Marines going to the Tillium refinery, But they arrive at the refinery and floating around it, but then they start hearing some on the radio. It's someone reading from essentially the same sort of rhetoric as the pamphlet, the manifesto, whatever the hell you want to call it. And he sort of realized the moment, like, pull up as the refinery explodes, killing a few people. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, also becomes the other thing. Let's make the people who claim they want peace immediately hypocrites because they have killed people.
Yes, that's the one that's the part of this that I do not like.
Yeah, because, like, look, to be honest, the sabotage that they did of the guns also could have gotten people killed, but that was arguably passive. That only becomes a problem when they get into conflicts, and getting into conflicts is what they don't want these, the military to be doing in the first place. Whereas this was always going to kill some people. Like, you're blowing shit up. And I'm not saying there's never a reason to blow shit up, but when you're blowing stuff up in the name of peace,
yeah, it doesn't really help.
No.
Yeah, so I agree that it makes them look like fucking terrible people. But then we have Adama.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Yes. We then have Adama going to talk to the leader guy again. And he basically says, I feel bad about it, but someone needs to start listening, and yells at him. And then Adama starts choking him, to which we get a moment of Ty kind of enjoying it and getting a little smile across of seeing Adama do that, which I think is the important, like, criticism of the episode of, like, Ty. Seeing Ty have enjoyment at this means, like, oh, yeah, no, that's bad, actually. And then Adama sort of catches what he's doing and it says this is going to stop as he sort of walks out angrily.
Again, like, it makes the entire, like, I already don't like this plot point, but it makes the entire thing less interesting because now, immediately after having the supposed people who want peace kill some people, now we're going to push the person on the other side into more extreme behavior than we are used to seeing from him. Not that we've never seen him strangle anybody, but the last time we did, it was a Cylon who shot him, as far as he was concerned. So, like, pushing both sides of this conflict to more extreme behavior just makes it even less interesting than I already found it, and I already didn't find it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, we then cut to Billy.
I feel like I want to clarify that.
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying things can't escalate, but this is an escalation. This is starting point.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this could have felt justified if this had been built up to, as opposed to, we have introduced this idea today and now immediately pushing everybody to the far extremes. Like, okay, cool. You don't actually want... Well, you're saying that there's more to this later, so maybe they do. But my immediate thought narratively is like, okay, you don't actually want to explore this idea. You just needed an episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that may not be the case, but it's still the impression I'm left with, which is bad.
I will say, and I'll give you this impression because it's going to lead us to the rest of the... This is why, and I've said this before, this is why I don't love Season 2 as much as other people. What we're about to enter, and some of them are good, but we're about to enter into a set of episodes that are like one-off episodes for the most part, leading all the way to the end of the season, pretty much. And then we'll pick back up on a larger thing. And this is something that even Ronald D. Moore himself admitted with being like, they were still trying to figure out what the direction they wanted to go in at this point. So they were doing a bunch of one-offs to try to, like, figure out what they were going, where they were going. So
a bunch of wheel spinny stuff while they figured out what the fucking show was.
Yes, which is why again I don't like Season 2 as much for exactly, like, I feel like everyone loves Season 2 as much because they're like, oh, they like the Pegasus stuff and the early stuff and like, ooh, we can find Earth. I find the show gets more interesting to me with what happens at the end of Season 2 onwards. So we'll get there when we get there, but yeah, that's my big thing, because where this goes at the end of Season 2 I remember really enjoying, and I remember enjoying Seasons 3 and 4 way more than the rest of the series, I'm being frank. But again, we'll see if young me was an idiot. I might have been, but that's my memory. And then again, that's not to say the next few episodes of this Season 2 are all trash. Next episode is widely considered to be one of the worst episodes of the series, to be fair.
Oh, fucking great. Well, then again, given how vastly we diverge from popular opinion on
maybe it'll be great.
Resurrection Ship Part 2, maybe this will be the best episode.
That's what I'm wondering. It'll be interesting to see. And then there's an episode that's like a one-off episode, 2 episodes from now that I'm like, I remember that one being good. So like there's some variation, but it is a lot of one-offs, wheel spinning till they figure out what they want to go. And then they do, and then we have a direction, which I do appreciate. So we'll get there when we get there. Regardless of whatever, if it turns out to be good or not, what I will say is there will be a direction chosen by the end of the season, and it is a direction to go in. So we'll leave it there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it just strikes me as like such an odd thing. And I'm not even somebody who advocates for like planning your whole show in advance, but it just strikes me as odd when you are doing something where the consequences are intended to last and episodes are intended to build on each other, that you're 2 seasons in and haven't decided what the fuck you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's real weird.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we then cut to Billy and Baltar talking, and Billy sort of explaining to Baltar, Rosin wanted the transition to go as smoothly as possible. He explains the number of people still alive, like that was represented hope to her in our future. Being present has a lot of responsibility, and she left you a letter that you're not supposed to read until the new term starts, but you might want to read it now because the next few days might get hectic. Because it's like the outgoing president leaves ones to the next president. But Baltar chooses not to read it, saying, let's pray she gets better, and doesn't open the letter.
Yeah, he sticks it in his pocket.
Mm-hmm. But then Baltar gets a very serious call. So
you were going to gloss over this phone call. Billy picks up the phone. Obviously, it's the president's office. And he's like, it's for you, and hands it over to Baltar. Baltar gets the most shit-eating little grin on his face, and he takes the phone, and he just does his little...
Hello?
Yeah.
The way he says hello into the phone fucking cracked me up. I'm like, that was the most awkward fucking thing. He's like, how do I sound presidential?
Hello?
The fuck, dude?
I like Baltar. Like, for all we can say about Baltar, the actor just has such good comedic chops. He's so good.
He has great comedic instincts. It absolutely floored me. I'm like, that's like all he's saying is hello, but like that was so. It was so bad in the best way.
Yeah, I do really love it. James Callis. I think it's James Callis is his name. He's such a good actor. He's been in 2 other things that I remember him for. One is kind of offhanded. He plays Picard's dad in season 2 of Star Trek Picard, which
in
is
flashbacks. I have to assume.
Yeah, in flashbacks. And he's fine in that. I mean, that season sucks, but he's fine in that role. But the other one where he's actually really, really good is he plays a scientist. So there's a
what a stretch.
Eureka, right?
I know of it.
So there's a show, Eureka, where it's basically just a town full of brilliant scientists, and a bunch of wacky stuff happens in the town. And the main character is the sheriff of the town. He always has to deal with like things going badly, and he's just the average Joe guy. Anyways, in season I think 2 or 3, they travel back in time to the Manhattan Project, essentially, the Eureka Town version of the Manhattan Project. And James Callis plays a scientist who is like the contemporary of Einstein and like friends with Einstein. And he's like a 1930s guy, like constantly smoking cigarettes, like and just speaking with that voice. And they bring him to the future. So he's like a 1930s guy in the 2000s for like the entirety of season 2 as like a regular special guest star. And he's very, very fun in it. He's a really, really good role in that. So
cool.
Yeah, that show was a lot of fun. I really do like it, except for based on that exact plotline, actually, their shitty takes on autism. But their take on autism with that is there's a character who's the mother of a kid with severe autism, and she's dealing with that the whole series, and then. During that season I told you where they bring him to the future, it changes things. So, like, parts of the town change up, and her kid gets cured of autism, and it's seen as a relief.
Oh, goody.
Mm-hmm. So I do like that show, but it has very eugenicsy fucked up takes on autism that I do not like. It's like, oh, I guess Autism Speaks helped with this show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, other than that, not exactly a ringing endorsement, but I will say it is a very fun show if you can ignore that shit. Anyways, back to the show. Baltar goes to see, basically goes to what is it? What's the big ship?
Cloud9.
Cloud9, and he basically meets in a room with the pro-Cylon group. They are the resistance movement here, and that's where we see Pegasus again.
So the implication is that they called him in the president's office.
Yeah.
How did they know where he was? And more to the point, how the fuck did they get that number?
I mean, I can understand how they got the president's number. It's not that big. There's not that many people around, you know what I mean? But
yeah, but as a general rule, isn't it usually just by necessity not the easiest thing to just call up and hassle the person who's supposed to be in charge by just any fucking rando?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, but yes.
It's very weird. Like, it was to the point that for a little while, I was waiting, like, wait, are they going to explain that phone call? Because I assumed it can't be this. That doesn't fucking make sense. And then they just kept going. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm the only one who cares. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, like, about a quarter of my complaints in most media. I should just throw my hands up and go, but apparently I'm the only one who fucking cares.
Yeah. Well, so yes, Pegasus is now a member of this peace movement. And basically
and she's got her Clark Kent spectacles on and everything.
Yeah, she does. She very much does. And so once people leave the room, Baltar and her just have a private talk. And he asks her, do they have any idea of what you are? And she says, no, even their dedication has limits. Which, yeah. And then we get into a great fucking moment where Baltar gets all horny and tries to kiss her, which she does not like, and she shoves him off of her.
Couple of beats in here I want to be sure we cover. I tensed up the instant they were alone and she looked at him and said, I missed you. It's just like, oh, fuck. Mm-hmm. And here's what I will go with. What I thought was going to happen in that moment is that she was going to be all over him. Like, great, let's take the assault victim and have her immediately getting all up on what is, for all intents and purposes, her savior. So let's reinforce the white knight bullshit and sex as a reward on top of every other fucking thing we've done with this character. They don't do that, thankfully. However, Baltar then has his whole, oh, I've been thinking about you, oh. And there's one moment that I did like. It was brief, but I did like it when he reaches out and touches her cheek. The reason I liked that is because one of the things we didn't mention is when he had his conversation with Head Six, he did that same move, but then there was a cut to show his hand just in air. Mm-hmm. That was good. That is kind of some of the visual paralleling, kind of like how we talked about that they did between Sharon and Pegasus over the last few episodes. Like, little stuff like that. That's really good. But then, yes, he goes in for a kiss, and she shoves him away. And I wrote down, yes, kick his ass. But then she apologizes. Fuck off.
Yeah, that was my thing. Because the whole scene I actually read is like, this feels true. Baltar would try to jump on her because that's what he fucking does. And she should push him away, but it was her apologizing to him that pissed me the fuck off.
I had thought, because she had pushed, because, like, again, I thought they were going to have her be into it immediately, and that would be why I hated it. They didn't. She pushed him off. I'm like, oh, great. And then she said, I'm sorry. I'm like, fuck off into the sun. Mm-hmm. Like, God damn it, man. Mm-hmm. You were this close. You were this fucking close.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, Baltar asked her if there's any particular reason you invited me. And she basically argues like, okay, once you're in office, you can use it to turn the fleet against Adama because the fleet is crumbling, paving the way for the Cylons to come and save us.
Which is also one of those things where, like, I believe her, but because so many of the episodes of the last stretch have been all about the military shit and not about the status of the rest of the government or civilians at all, like, it does feel a little bit like turning over two pages at once, because like part of my brain went like, the fleet is crumbling. When? And then my brain is like, well, while all the other shit was going on, obviously. So like, okay, I see when it happened, but you also didn't show it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. But
like the last time we touched on any of this was the martial law thing, and it hasn't really come up since.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, I have to imagine having seen all the fucking Pegasus stuff, like, oh, Galactica and Pegasus are fucking shooting at each other. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Baltar says, "I am not who you think I am. I'm not going to be responsible for the destruction of mankind." So basically, he says, "Nah, not gonna do that."
Yeah, no. Maybe I would have if you'd let me touch you, but no. He doesn't say that, but like it's the energy that's left on the scene, intended or not, and it's probably not. But
yeah, I don't think that was the intention, but yeah, there is an energy of it. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
So, one other thing to note is like when she shoved him, he started bleeding. He's fascinated by blood. It sort of kickstarts some gears in his brain.
Yeah.
We then cut to Adama talking to the entire crew, sort of speaking through the speakers to everyone on the Galactica, and says, the president's, she's here, that her prognosis is grave. For those of you who believe in the power of prayer, if it is your way, pray for our president. If not, the rest of you join me in keeping her in our thoughts. So.
Which I really like the way he worded that, like saying like, if you think prayer will help, go for it. And then like also being like, if you don't, and he says like, join me, meaning he's implying I ain't praying, but like, let's good vibes, people, good vibes. Come on. Only positive feedback, good vibes.
Just keep it good vibes going round. It's all good. We then have Sharon getting taken by the Marines and getting knocked out by getting injected with something as Adama watches. So we have that little bit. But then as they're wheeling her into the sick bay, Hilo is standing there, and he stands up to Adama, and Adama says, think about what you're doing, Hilo. You're a soldier. And Hilo goes, no, I'm a father, just like you are. Just give me a raptor, and I'll let her away from the fleet. Adama turns that down. But then, before it can escalate any further, Baltar comes out and says, hey, I may have been very wrong when I said that Coddle misinterpreted the blood work. I found something intriguing. And he basically goes and does his science explanation to Adama, who's like seemingly has no patience for any of it. But he basically explains that the Cylon blood.
He comes just short of doing the classic line in English, Doc.
But basically, he explains that the Cylon blood has no antigens, so there's no blood type. And it can also be blessed, as he says, like, let's use the word blessed, with heightened resistance to disease. Basically, the blood can cure cancer. It's Khan blood from Star Trek Into Darkness.
It's magic blood, which, as a thing in and of itself, whatever. I knew that they were going to find a way to cheat and keep Rosalind around. I fucking told you that the instant that it was like, you've got a few months. And I told you, unless they literally just do every day of the months for what's left of the show, they're gonna find a way around this. So I fucking knew that. So I don't necessarily object to the blood for the purposes of keeping her around. It's a MacGuffin. It's the Holy Grail. It's reconfiguring the deflector dish. It's whatever the fuck it needs to be. What I don't love about it, though, is it sets us up for a nice chosen one Messiah baby. And that I am not excited about.
I will say nothing. What I will say is this, because now I can reveal this. This is not me saying whether or not Rosalind is a Cylon or not. However, I remember when I was watching the show as a kid, my theory was like, because they're not going to kill Rosalind, they're going to keep her around in some way. What would have been a fun, interesting status quo, and what I wish they had done, was she does die from cancer, but then wakes up because she was a Cylon the whole time, and she wakes up on the Cylon ship after she dies. That was always my theory. That would have been a cool reveal. Now, that's not me saying whether or not she's a Cylon. She may still be, but that was always my theory of how they were going to resolve the cancer storyline. So.
Solid theory.
Would have been fun. Sadly, did not happen. So. Maybe too obvious because I was 12 and thought of it. So, but I thought it'd be a fun reveal. Anyways, we got magic blood. Baltar injects it into Roslyn. Kados calls it unnatural, then damn dangerous. But Baltar says, maybe just once, perhaps I can be the beacon of hope around here, which I actually kind of liked him saying.
Well, and he also made what is the exact point I would have made. Like, given her prognosis, I don't see how this makes anything worse.
Yes. We then cut back to Roslyn having a flashback with Adar, and with Stans first. We get an Adar scene later. Did I miss it?
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay, it happens later. Okay. Well, then we have her cutting to her with Stans, and she says, I want our students back in school. No more civil disobedience. And Stan says, I'm glad you called, Madam President. But then Roz then sees Caprica...
No, Madam Secretary.
Excuse me. Secretary. Yeah, she's secretary. And then Roslyn...
Although, like, that actually would have been really interesting if they'd had him say that, because it would have... To me, if that had happened, it would have implied, like, this isn't a pure memory. This is like her brain is mixing up what's happening now with what happened then, which would have brought into question her remembering seeing Baltar was 6, which I think would have been really interesting. So you accidentally did something better than they did.
Yeah. I also just realized this did happen earlier, and I just skipped over it for some reason on accident. The flashback that we were going to refer to.
Okay.
So Roslyn comes into the office with Adar. They kiss, which I'm assuming is the thing you're going to have a whole thing about.
Fuck! And the fact that they do this after they had her and fucking Adama, I don't care what they are trying to do. I don't care. I don't even care to try and figure out what they think they're trying to do. What they are implying is that she's a star fucker. She gets to whoever is the guy in power and just starts making out with him. That is the impression they have left of this woman who they have otherwise depicted as being insanely competent, very well reasoned, really adept at the political scheme. It's like, oh, but also she just fucks the person in power. Like, what is this? Why the fuck is this here?
Yeah, I do not disagree. I'm 100% legitimizing you, and I'm not even devil's advocating it. I am more just to explain how we got here. Like, I could tell what the thinking was. The thinking was like, oh, they want to do the Adama Roslyn romance thing, which they did last episode. And then for this one, it is like, ooh, wouldn't it be more interesting if they were in a romance, and then we have the scene where they like, he's about to fire her. Isn't that just more drama? It's like done for like making the scene more dramatic, which it didn't need, and it just implies all the things that you did. But like the thinking was clear.
It just pissed me off.
Yes, it's clearly just done to make the scene more juicy, at least in dude bro thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, moving on from the kiss, Roslyn reveals to Adar she met with Stans and she got the Educational Alliance to back off, and that she just made them a promise that we would seriously hear out their grievances. They're going to go back to work. Both sides gave ground, but Adar is pissed off about this, saying, oh, well, now you've just given the impression when the next strike happens that if someone holds out long enough, this administration will cave. And he basically asks her to resign. And she says, this isn't about you and me anymore. If you were willing to attack those people and I was willing to let you. And so she says, I have to go to the Galactica, but when I get back, if you still want my job, be prepared to fight. So she was going to fight for her job against Adar.
Which also, I don't know. It's one of those things that just, I can't explain why. I want to say it's lazy, but that's what my brain goes to. Just like that. Ooh, and like this late reveal of, oh, if the attack had happened on a different day, she might not have even been in that position of power. Like, look, it was already enough that like she was the highest ranked person who was on the Galactica. That was plenty. This idea that we're now adding in that like, oh, she was about to be removed from power. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
I don't hate this. I mean, the whole like she was about to remove from power.
I don't hate it. But it's like I don't see the point.
Oh, I do. The point
Okay.
the point for me is to showcase that she's a different president than Adar. Because what happens later, because like Adar's whole thing was like, you don't have to explain yourself at all if you're the president, and he was the one that was like, I don't want to negotiate with Stans, like fuck him, we'll put him down, whatever, and I'm not even willing to hear him out. And we see Roslyn literally about to do the same, not only to do the same for whatchamacallit, the Cylon baby, but also have a chance to do the same to the resistance group on the Galactica and everything. But as we'll see in a minute or two, she actually goes out of her way to do what she did initially with Stans, which is to reach out and negotiate with him and like actually create a dialogue, which Adar wouldn't have done. So we saw a parallel between her and Adar at the beginning with her reusing his line, but at the end of the episode we show that she is actually not the same as Adar. So that's what I think they're setting up.
I get that, but I don't know. There's something that feels like, and maybe I'm just too annoyed with the show.
That is fair. That is fair. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too annoyed with the show at this point. I fully am prepared to cop to that. But there's something that feels like we're so clever, pat on the back about the added detail of she was about to be fired.
Sure. I don't disagree with that, but
because that's the specific thing I'm saying. Why is that there? Not the scene as a whole. I understand why the scene as a whole is there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why the fuck the kiss is there. Well, I mean, you explained why, but like, fuck off. That's a stupid fucking reason.
I agree.
And I don't understand why this last detail is there.
I mean, again, it's like, I'm not even upset about that detail. I mean, there's something, I don't know. It's like, it's a superfluous thing of like, all right, it doesn't matter. Like she was going to lose her job, but if one more day later, she wouldn't have been in the position. Yeah, I get it. But you know, I don't hate that. It's not like terrible for me. And I actually think
I think the bigger problem is just I'm running out of patience with the show.
Fair enough. But yeah, it doesn't the kiss bothers me, but yeah, the other part of it doesn't bother me. And the scene itself I actually think is a good one, kiss removed, in terms of setting up this parallel between the type of person that Roslyn is versus Adar is, and showcasing like different uses of power as presidents. So like, I think that worked for me, and I actually liked that. So
yeah, that was fine.
Yeah,
that part was fine.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, back to where we were. So we had the second one where she went and saw Stans, and you know she basically says no more civil disobedience. I want students back in school. She also sees Baltar with Caprica 6. Baltar with Caprica 6,
and like making out.
Yes, and getting a good view of Six's face. Like she gets a good full on shot of it. Yeah. We then she survives. She has a seizure, but she survives. And then 48 hours later, Coddle's talking to Adama and says, you know, she'll need a bit of time to recover, but her cancer is gone. And then he goes over to see Roslyn, and she asks him to take her to the spokesman of the faction, of the, whatever you want to call it, the peace movement faction. And Roslyn goes to see him. And he basically argues all these people want is to be heard. And she basically says, all right, before we begin talking, we need assurances there'll be no more attacks. The spokesperson kind of denies that he has the ability to do that, but he then, after she pushes on him on it, says, all right, I'll talk to my people.
I actually want to hold, because I really love this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, this was the line he gave to Adama. Like, they aren't following a leader, they're following an idea, which is something that is to his tactical benefit to have the other side believe, because otherwise, if they think they have the leader in custody, then that puts them in a stronger position. But what I just love Roslyn's little moment, basically saying like, look, the basis of negotiation is trust. Don't lie to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, she doesn't say this part, but I like to think she's figured this bit out, which is that there was no point in you coming here if you didn't at least have a direct line for them. So even if you're not the leader, you don't act like you can't talk to these people and you don't know how to reach them. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she calls him and that he realizes, yep, okay, that tactic doesn't work. I'll drop it.
And to his credit, too, he doesn't admit that he has full control as the leader either. He says he'll just talk to his people. So, like,
yeah. Yeah, it's not an admission that he is the leader of the thing, but at the very least, like if this negotiation is going to happen at all, you can't pretend like you don't have a line to the group as a whole. So she's just telling him to his face, just don't bullshit me, man.
Yeah, and he doesn't. And yeah, so she says, yeah, if there are more attacks, the admin will hunt your friends down without mercy. So,
Which honestly, under the circumstances, I think is also very reasonable.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, because it would be bad for them politically to, stamp out a dissonant group. So
it's not something she probably wants to do. Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to do that. But at the same time, like, dude, we have bigger problems. We don't have time for you if you are going to be, if you're going to make yourself a problem, then we will respond to you like you're a problem, because this is your chance, like, for us to actually talk.
Well, then we cut to Baltar talking to Head Six, and they're in his his lab, and Head Six is basically saying, like, by saving Rosalind, you deny yourself your rightful place as a leader. And she says, I'll never understand you. And he says, yeah, you don't, and neither does your corporeal counterpart. So neither of the sixes understand him. But then Baltar pulls out the note that Rosalind wrote him, and Head Six takes it and starts reading it kind of jokingly. And basically it is a letter from Rosalind saying, like, hey, you don't have any ethics, but I believe in your better self.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
basically, like, you are very smart. You're also an asshole. And that's a problem, and I need you to be better.
Yes.
Because you kind of suck.
Yes. And like, she phrased it because, like, I open your heart, and, if people look to you for solace and justice, if you find a way to give them that, you'll be a great leader. So she is, like, trying to inspire him a little bit, but yeah, it's not what's going to work on Baltar.
He's seeing through the flowery language to the heart of it being, I think this is a mistake, you shouldn't be in power, but hey, maybe try this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the undercurrent of it. Yeah. Like, it probably would have read better had she died, and
probably.
Like, I'm assuming she intended it to come across as, like, I'm dead, so, like, I can just at least be a little honest and try to inspire you to be a better person, and maybe you'll take it as a good read because I'm dead, and you'll have a little bit of flowery thoughts about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But since she's very much alive, he very much reads it as, like, oh yeah, you think I'm a shit person, which is not wrong.
No, like, he is. He's very much a shit person.
Yeah, no, it's a scene that reads very true. It's like, I get why Rosalind wrote this letter. I get why she wrote it the way that she did. It actually makes sense for her to have done that, to appeal to his better angels. But it's also very understandable why Baltar reads it as, yeah, no, I see you as a shit person, because she does.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so he takes it now.
Something we didn't really mention, like, when she gets the shot and, like, recovers, after she flatlines and comes back for a bit, she has a moment looking at Baltar. She almost seems like she's either reaching out or trying to point to him, but people are like, oh, no, lay down and rest. So, like, it seemed a very clear indication to me that she retained the memory. Like, the way the show is framed is that these are not random flashbacks. This is very specifically what she was remembering as she was dying. And she remembers what she was remembering, meaning she has connected some dots there.
Though, to be fair, it's been 2 days and she hasn't said anything, so...
That is true, but also the point at which she was like, and acted like she was gonna do something was, like, when she was zonked out on meds and everything else. So my assumption is, like, she wants to go about trying to figure out how to deal with this way more quietly than just shoving a finger and going traitor.
Yeah, it's either that. Well, there's two options. It's either that or she's still sorting out her zonked out memories, but it will surface at some point in the next few episodes or so.
Could be. That would be less interesting.
I'm not saying either way. All right. So yeah, Baltar takes it badly, says she's never going to trust me, and Head Six says, no, it's not a political struggle. It's literally life or death. So yeah, Baltar doesn't like Rosalind. We then cut to a couple little flash scenes where Sharon is looking at her baby belly and Rosalind's watching, so Rosalind's clearly having complicated feelings about that. But the baby did survive.
Messiah baby.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off. God damn it.
Mm-hmm. And then we see the leader of the peace movement leaving the Galactica, being watched by Baltar. And then we cut to him arriving on Cloud 9 and meeting with Pegasus. And he said, the president assured me that she's willing to bring our concerns to the quorum. And Pegasus says, she's just buying time. Yeah, they're never going to want to negotiate. But then the leader says, well, the vice president, Baltar, asked to meet with me. He said, have patience. And he offered me contents of this case as proof of his sincerity. And he said that you should be the one to open it. And so Pegasus opens it, and it's the nuke.
Yeah. And I think it says a lot about how frequently this is done in media that, like, she opens it and there's, like, takes a step back and the guy, like, puts his hand on his mouth. And I knew this couldn't be it, but my brain immediately went, there's a body.
Yeah.
Like,
Rosalind's dead in there or something.
Yeah, it's like it's somebody's head. Like, that's just what I'm so used to media doing. Like, look, mysterious package, to send a message. Oh, whose head is in there? So it took me a hot second when they showed it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then they zoom in on the nuclear symbol. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay.
Yeah. So now this peace group has some power to back up their side of things. So, yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is the end of the episode. What did I want to say spoiler minute-wise? I'm trying to remember what I want to say before I get into it. Well, I will have a spoiler minute. So if you do not want spoilers, just jump ahead for the next 60 seconds, and you will not be spoiled, just like Vera's going to do in real time by giving me 60 seconds on the clock and taking off her headphones.
And go.
So yeah, the biggest thing to talk about here is this ultimately all leads to Pegasus blowing up Cloud 9 right after the elections and leading to New Caprica and that whole storyline at the end of season 2. Again, this is the thing that I've been referring to like vaguely with Vera, where like the next rest of this season is kind of like one-off episodes, some good, some bad. Scar's good. If I recall, the next episode, which is the Black Market episode, is bad, if I recall. So, like, there's some up, some down, but it doesn't really have a direction until we get to the end of season 2, in which case it finally does pick a direction and has a bit of a status quo change, at least for a little while, which I do really appreciate. And so, like, I'm really hoping we get to that point, because that's where I'm like, I just remember season 3 onwards getting really good, because the stuff with, New Caprica and a bunch of other storylines being much, much, much more interesting than seasons 1 and 2 for me. Again, maybe young me is an idiot and is recalling it badly, but I remember seasons 3 and 4 kind of being where it got more interesting for me, and then also the character that I really like, played by an actor that I really like, that I'm staying vague about so I don't spoil for Vera, because, has her headphones on and is just staring at me.
Hi.
Alrighty, well then. What did you think of this episode, Vera?
Look, there were a handful of decent things. Some of it was small moments, like all the weird looks Baltar got in the friggin' hallway. Some of Rosalind's stuff was good. Some of it was a fucking kiss, because fucking why? And then the stuff with Pegasus was great up until she apologized for shoving his ass around, which, God fucking damn it, man. And we're setting up Messiah Baby. Don't love it. You're going to have to check me if I start getting too negative about this show. And I mean that.
I get it, yeah.
I am starting to get worried that because the show is losing me a little bit, I'm starting to look for the problems as opposed to just encounter them. And I don't want to do that, so you might have to start checking me a little bit.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I'm doing the same thing with Strange New Worlds too, so that's I'm trying to check myself when I do that show, so I'm willing to do it for you as well. Like I said, I'll be frank. I'm with you. Like, this episode is fine. It's whatever. It moves the status quo a little bit. I'm just kind of running out the clock until we get to season 3, because I feel like legitimately the end of season 2 does some things, introduces a character I really love, and gets way more interesting to me. So I feel like I said, I feel like some of the one-off stuff, there's some ups, some downs, but it's a bit of wheel spinning until we get to the part where I'm more interested to get to. So we'll see how these next few weeks will go. So it'll probably be a little bit of a rough one.
I'm trying to see how many.
The
20
two-parter.
episodes to a season. So, we've got 7 more.
Yeah, and like I said, some of them are up. Like there's one that's called Scar that's coming up that I remember enjoying. Like there's like it's not going to be all just shit all the way down, at least if I recall. But it is a bit of like narrative wheel spinning if you're looking for something like big shakeups or anything like that. So,
but next week is the one that everybody says is the worst.
yes, Black Market I think is the name of that one. So
Is it weird that I'm kind of excited to see what this fan base considers bad?
Well, maybe I'll temper your excitement by being it's a Lee focused episode. So
Of course it sucks. But like I am legit, like, given the high, and again I know they're not the end all be all metric, but given the high IMDb ratings for that stretch of episodes for the Pegasus stuff from earlier and how well loved that appears to be, like I'm just really curious. I feel like it's just got to shift my entire understanding of the fan base of the show to find out what they feel is particularly bad.
We shall see. I'm just God, I just want to get to the end of the season. I've teased it a bunch of times. I'm not going to spoil who, but like there's a character I love coming. And they're almost here. They're almost here.
Start the countdown.
Yeah. We're a few episodes away from one of my favorite characters. So we'll get there. Watch, the character will show up and turn out to be utter shit, and I'll hate him. I'm like, God damn it.
I thought you were cool. It's got to be like Baltar, but worse, because when you were a kid, you just thought he was the smartest guy in the room, and now you're an adult going, oh, no, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh, no, I very at least never thought Baltar was smart. I always realized Baltar was a fucking tool. But yeah, I'm hoping this character, I'm just excited for this character. One of my favorites, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, that's it. Anything else, Vera?
Nah.
Stuff time, then.
Stuff. You can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. Patreon pays the bills. The main thing that funds is the Council of Geeks YouTube channel. I have been dealing with a lot of heavy topics lately. I would apologize for that, but I don't know. Look out the window. It's what I'm stuck with. Hopefully, I think if I have my timing right, it's either the weekend before this comes out or the weekend after. I will have a video out that I'm actually really excited to do because it's going to be really fun for me, about the state of musicals in Hollywood, because it gives me a chance to do one of the things that I love to do the most, which is to talk about fundamental differences in mediums and how people don't account for them. And I love talking about this shit. Like, one of my favorite videos that I ever made was the video that I made on Zack Snyder's Watchmen, and it's only got 10,000 views, but I'm still so goddamn proud of that video, and
It's a good video.
Yeah, I love thinking about stuff like this, and I'm so excited for it. And hopefully, it's the video coming out. Hopefully, shit didn't explode in a way that required me to do something else. But also, there is the Break Room of Geeks, a secondary channel where I talk about whatever I have watched, listened to, read, or played lately. I am keeping up with Alien Earth. I am going to try and keep up with Peacemaker as those start coming out. I will eventually catch up on Star Trek Strange New Worlds if you want to hear about the exact ways in which I think it's shit.
I'm so excited for your review because I listen to so many podcasts, Star Trek podcasts, and they're all just like, it's great. And I'm just like, no. It's all mostly like middle-aged men who are like, I got to see Kirk again. It makes me happy. And that's fine. It's fine.
It's the same ones who said Picard Season 3 was great.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
It's the one thing that I'm frustrated. Like, this is an aside. The Star Trek fan base is just aging, and it's a lot of boomer men who are excited whenever Picard or Kirk do a thing. But whatever. Anyways.
It's the thing I remember. Anyways.
And that's not a knock on you if you'll enjoy it, but it's not what I'm here for.
That's what's on the Break Room of Geeks. You can also find Council of Geeks on Blue Sky, where I have not officially wished ill on J.K. Rowling, but I support the movement. And that is the geeky stuff. There is also the spicy stuff. And for that, you can look for Vera Wild. Wild is spelled W-Y-L-D-E. And you can find increasingly spicy content on YouTube. TikTok. I love that I decided to get extra sexy with it, so you decided to get extra unhinged.
Yes, it was more fun.
Yeah, you had to counterbalance.
I had to counter. You can't
okay.
If you no, I was helping you. I was helping you because I needed to like cut people off so that if they want to get the full Vera Wild sexy experience, they actually have to go to your platforms to do so. They're getting a little taste, but then I come in with my voice and make it very unsexy, so they can't just get off here. They have to go elsewhere to get the full experience. It's like seeing a sexy lady and then being reminded of your grandma, you know?
Is it bad that I now kind of want you to like in some of my OnlyFans stuff deliberately to ruin the mood?
Just like it's you doing porn and then I just hop in and it's like, hey, how you doing? And I was just like walking over you, like I'm just like wearing granny panties, like eating like cheese or whatever. Like something is like I would try to find the most unfetishizable thing I could do.
In today's episode of Jesse Ruins the Moment.
It would be great. That would be a lot of fun. I'm sure that would be someone.
That
would be a niche. Like that is got to be someone's fetish though. Of like someone who ruins. Like the fetish is someone who ruins things in the most unfetishizable way possible. Is the fetish?
I suppose you could argue it's a form of edging.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, anyways, if you want to end yourself with knowledge, you can find. You can follow me on my YouTube channel called Jesse Gender. I do video essay type stuff. I should put that as my slogan. End yourself with knowledge.
I dare you to change your banner and add that in there. Don't say anything.
To do it.
Wait until somebody mentions it.
Oh, that would be so funny. Just someone comes in and is just like, Jesse Gender, etching yourself with knowledge. I'm crying a little bit. That's too funny. Anyways, if you do want to etch yourself with knowledge. Oh my God.
We're okay. We promise we're okay.
Okay. Whew. All right, you can follow my video essay style stuff at Jesse Gender. You can, if you want to edge yourself with reviews, you can follow me at Jesse Gender After Dark, where I do reviews of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, Peacemaker, Alien Earth. Oh, excuse me. So reviewing all that there. I am also on Blue Sky, unless I've been banned for wishing ill on J.K. Rowling. I'm also on Patreon, that helps me pay the bills. I'm also on Nebula, which has my movie Identities, as well as the upcoming show Subliminal that I direct an episode of that'll come out next year. Yeah, that's everything. Oh my God, sorry, I just needed to breathe. All right. Well, now that everyone's enjoyed that, you can stop edging and go enjoy someone else. Adore you, Vera.
Were you gonna say your usual thing or no?
I hope you all live long and prosper and go fuck yourselves. Literally.
Be seeing you, and you may now come.
Oh, Jesus Christ.